Where is insurtech headed next? This is where indie agents own the answer. Welcome to the Vertafore Insurance Podcast. Let's go. Welcome everyone to, the first episode of season 2 of the Vertafore Insurance Podcast. We're really, really excited to bring you a fresh set of episodes, a fresh perspective. We have new things coming, some different styles of interviews. We'll have multiple people on. We're bringing out, I should say, more of Vertafore, so that you guys can get an inside look at what's happening, behind the scenes per se. So if this is the first episode that you're listening to, welcome back. You're buckle up because you're in for a ride. And this first episode, I'm really, really excited to have a very special guest. He has been with Vertafore for over 5 years now. He has been through, a number of major moments for Vertafore over the last 5 years, and really led the company through challenges and into a state that's honestly very exciting. I mean, when I joined Vertafore last February, I saw a huge amount of opportunity, and this guy created a lot of that opportunity for myself and other people who have joined the company recently to step into. So I'm really excited to have him on. He lives in Denver, Colorado. So I should have known that. I thought he lived in Seattle, Washington, but it's because he took a trip there recently, I believe. And but he's a Denver guy, and he actually was born and lived in Canada and moved over to the U.S. So he's really had an exciting life journey, I would say. And honestly, I kind of want to dig into that. But for today, we're going to focus on the vision of Vertafore in 2023. Welcome, James Thom.
Thanks for having me, Sid. Super excited about it.
So, James, you are the Chief Product Officer of Vertafore.
I am.
And as such, I think you get to see a lot, I would say not even a 30,000-foot view, a 50,000-foot view of the insurance industry. So let's start with that industry conversation. What are you seeing going on? Because this is something special. And for those of you guys listening, not everyone has that opportunity to take in all this information. So, listen up. This is the, perspective of someone who's got that wide look at everything that's going on. So James, what really is happening out in the industry that you're seeing, as you're navigating all the different challenges that come up at Vertafore and elsewhere?
Yeah, no, it's a really great question. And it's been an exciting time over the industry for the past few years. When I joined Vertafore back in 2017, I was running our strategy office, our corporate development center, our partnership program. And so I had a really good opportunity to see what others were doing out in the insurance industry, understand all the additional money that was flowing into insurtech, and try and understand, what was going to happen and where real value was going to be created. I think the quick conclusions that you can come to in that environment were independent agents and the value of choice in the distribution channel were never going to go away. The opportunity and the value that independent agents provided was huge. And so you could immediately cut out a significant amount of investment that was going into disintermediation and everything to work around the independent agent. And I think that's largely proved itself out over the past few years. Now, there's still tons of money flowing into the insurtech space. And I think what we're seeing right now is this moment in time where people are trying to separate what is a really great idea from something that provides real value for end insureds, for agents, for carriers, for MGAs. And so this opportunity to say, how do we support independent agents in their growth? How do we support carriers, existing carriers, incumbent carriers in their growth? How do we support MGAs with bringing new ideas to market and moving faster? is all sort of where the drive of investment has been over the past 2 years, and I think where it will continue to be going forward, because there's still tons of potential in this segment, but you have to work within the existing context of the segment to be successful.
Mm-hmm. When you look at those opportunities coming into 2023, where are the hidden challenges? Like, do you see any? And I know it's hard to look into the future, so I know you don't have a magic 8 ball. But if you could, preempt some of those roadblocks or challenges, what do you see out in the market?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing, and at Vertafore, we're probably got a little bit ahead of it as the opportunity is as I think about commercial insurance and improving how data flows across the distribution channel. Mm-hmm. We really wanted to get ahead of that in our company, and we launched our commercial submission solution in 2022 to support agents with their connecting to their trading partners for commercial insurance, streamlining those workflows and making it even easier and more profitable to sell commercial insurance. I think in 2023 and 2024, we're going to see that really come to fruition. It's been taken longer than I think anybody expected. You could ask anybody who's been in the industry for a while that they've had these conversations for 5-10 years around streamlining commercial insurance. But I think we're starting to see the pivot point in that journey, both from carriers, existing carriers, incumbent carriers being easier to work with, all these new carrier startups that are easy to work with on the commercial insurance side, and agents really embracing new technology to streamline their commercial insurance workflows. So that's a big area of focus for us and a big area of focus for the industry going forward. Mm-hmm. There are still, big barriers associated with driving adoption of that. And I would say primarily on the carrier side is people are still going through a lot of technology changes from legacy systems up into more modern systems on that side, and opening up APIs and things that we can connect to support that type of growth with commercial insurance. It's
interesting that you pinpointed commercial insurance, because every time I'm on YouTube, I see the commercial for Next Insurance, which mm-hmm. I remember having this conversation with my dad when I was young. And I remember him saying, Sid, Dad, I'm sorry if you're listening to this. I remember him saying, Sid, commercial insurance is never going to be digitized. It won't. It's too complicated. It needs an independent agent. It's not going to happen. And here we are in 2023, and his kid can't get away from this digital commercial insurance solution that's on YouTube, of all things.
Yeah.
So
they certainly pay a lot of money to advertise to me as well. It might not be the best place.
I click on their Google ads. Absolutely.
There you go. Yeah.
So yeah, I would agree. I mean, I do think that I see that becoming an interesting challenge for the different insurtechs in the space.
Well, it's interesting because I think the world has started to move away from this idea of pure direct consumer commercial insurance, which makes less sense to me because there's no advisory experience associated with it in the actual commercial insurance buying process, or there's a relatively limited advisory experience. Two different approaches. One is the embedded insurance approach, which, as a small business, I'm doing some other process, inputting a lot of data into a system. Do I want to get a commercial insurance quote as part of that process? Yeah, that makes a ton of sense to me, right? Like if I'm incorporating my business, why not try and get commercial insurance as part of that process and understand what I need? The second is this hybrid approach where you want to streamline data collection, you want to streamline the quoting process inside of the agency so you get quick responses for commercial insurance, but you're never going to be able to avoid needing somebody to tailor limits and coverages, lines of business. What do you actually need for insurance purposes for your business? And it helps to have an advisor there. It's not something that we're all experts in when we're out starting a coffee shop or a flower shop or a manufacturing business or whatever else it is. We need somebody to support us in that journey. And so that's where I think this pure DTC approach is very, very challenging to get around. And we're starting to see the market push back against that a fair bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's switch to Vertafore because I want to talk solutions,
Sure.
not just challenges. And you've actually set up some interesting challenges that I know Vertafore is wanting to tackle coming into 2023.
Yeah.
But before we go there, maybe we step back, we look at 2022 and do a quick recap of some of the things that happened, some big moments. I know you mentioned launching commercial submissions. That was a big, big moment for the industry and for Vertafore.
Yeah.
What were some other wins, some other challenges that we faced last year?
Yeah. I mean, 2022 has been an amazing year for Vertafore. It was achieving our goals as a business, improving how we serve our customers, having a real impact in the insurance industry. It's been great. We're not perfect by any stretch, but I think there's plenty of areas to improve. But 2022 is a year that Vertafore can really, really be proud of. Vertafore for a long time has offered a very broad set of experiences for our customers. Lots of different products and solutions is the way that people I think would have described Vertafore. And through our initiative around bringing our solutions together, whether it's from an experience perspective, bringing our APIs together to make them easier to use, making data flow more naturally across our solutions. 2022 was a big year in that journey and continuing the progress, particularly for many of our core agency solutions and how data flows across them. And so we're really excited about that. It was a big year for our partnership with AWS and the move of our solutions into the public cloud and all the benefits that we get out of the AWS partnership. It was also a really big year for independent agents, that are focused on growth and sales growth and retention. That's not that everybody isn't, but particularly small and middle market agents that had the opportunity to leverage Agency Zoom. I mean, I think about the acquisition of Agency Zoom that we did late the previous year as being one of the most transformational moments for Vertafore in its history. And it was really, it's an unbelievable tool for growing efficiency inside of the agency. And 2022 was a year where we saw that come to life inside of Vertafore as we improved integrations and brought many, many more thousands of users to the Agency Zoom platform. So that was an amazing accomplishment. And the other big thing for Vertafore in 2022 was our growth in the MGA market. We saw the huge opportunity with growth in excess and surplus lines and the need to service all these new and innovative programs that were coming to market. And we saw all of that happen in 2022, both through our existing solutions and through the acquisition of MGA systems. And so, really incredible year overall in terms of what we managed to accomplish in bringing our solutions together, driving growth in the front office through Agency Zoom and driving growth in the MGA space. Couldn't be happier with that.
And just to emphasize for those of you guys listening, I remember when Agency Zoom was acquired, there was this sort of undertone in the agency of, oh no, what will happen to Agency Zoom? It was this nice startup, and I think any entrepreneur looked at Mo and said he's going to be the next guy, capital G, and then, oh no, it got acquired by Vertafore. And if you take 10 minutes and go to agencyzoom.com, fill out the form for a demo, what you're going to find is a tool that's better than than last year when it was brought into the Vertafore family. In addition to that, you'll also know that the API, the integrations that James just mentioned, none of those have been cut off. Every single integration is still live, whether it goes into other Vertafore products or out into the ecosystem to other products. And the integrations have gotten better, more robust, faster. So I think that needs to be said. The old saying is, if you're not sort of promoting your own story, right, no one's doing it for you. I think that can get lost in the shuffle and in the noise of everything else that's going on in the industry. But the Agency Zoom product is taken really seriously here. And you'll hear from Dana in a few weeks. She's actually leading the charge on Agency Zoom and how it integrates with other systems. And we are actually launching a new set of products here coming soon. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on internally. So it
Well,
was a big hit.
maybe Sid, it would help everybody to understand Agency Zoom and Vertafore's approach to our acquisitions and how we think about the ecosystem, to talk a little bit about the story that, at least my relationship with Agency Zoom over time. And I don't know if you and I have ever talked about this before, but
No.
it was probably back in late 2018, maybe early. It was probably 2018, I want to say. There was right after the FAIA conference down in Florida, and our sales team was down there, and the VP of sales came back from that conference and rushed into my office and said, "James, you got to go check out Agency Zoom. They owned that conference. It was the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. We have to do something with them ASAP." And I was like, okay, that's great. That's exactly the type of feedback that I like to hear. Let's go have a conversation. And I met with Mo and Tolga at the time, and was blown away with what they were doing. It was amazing, but it was, not the right time for Vertafore to bring them into the family. They still had tons of growth to do. They had tons of opportunity. And so what did we focus on doing? We focused on integrating with their product and supporting their growth. And that's really the ethos of Vertafore and our Orange Partnership Program, right? How do we understand that it doesn't all need to be inside of the Vertafore umbrella? How do we help other companies grow in and around Vertafore and connect into our solutions? And so we said, let's partner. Let's go to market together. Let's think about how we can better integrate QQ Catalyst and Agency Zoom, how we can better integrate AMS 360 and Agency Zoom. And we built for Agency Zoom, I think, was by far for them as an independent company, the most robust integration out there in the market. And I think it helped them grow. And then we reached a point in time that, hey, it made sense for Agency Zoom to become part of the Vertafore family. There was so much more that we could do together. We saw the potential to grow them even beyond what they could do as an independent company. And that's why the acquisition made sense at the time. And so at Vertafore, we're all about supporting growth in and around our partners, supporting that growth, but we're also all about bringing in businesses to Vertafore that make sense and provide real value to our agency partners. So it was a great story for us in terms of how that acquisition went for us overall, and the relationship with them through the partnership program that developed over many, many years. It wasn't something that happened overnight, for sure.
I love that you told that story, because I kid you not, just 30 minutes ago, I got off the podcast recording with Gavin Campbell, who is the tech manager over at Rice Insurance. And I asked him why he chose Agency Zoom. And this was a few years ago. It was before the acquisition. And he said, because it integrated with AMS 360.
Yeah.
I said, I mean, you had Pipedrive, you have, there's other sales tools. Yeah, none of them integrate with AMS. I wanted one that was pre-built integration. I could turn it on, the data flowed back and forth, where, whoever built it already knew what data I needed in what spots, and I could use it and be off to the races. So that was, we got Gavin, so that says something.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing I think agents want these days is to have more silos that their data lives in, right? Like, it doesn't make a ton of sense to have to rekey information from one system to another system. It's wasted time and energy. Everybody can see that. And so at Vertafore, we 100% believe in running an open platform, get access to your data when you need it, use our APIs to connect it into third-party solutions. If you're super technically literate as an agency, and you have staff that can integrate with our APIs, you can build amazing things on top of them. Many agencies have built amazing things on top of our APIs. But if you're other technology partners that want to integrate with Vertafore, we're very open and very ready to support companies in integrating with the core platforms, because the last thing we want is duplicate, triplicate, quintuplicate data entry that exists in the insurance space to continue. We want it to be streamlined for everybody, because that's where real efficiency happens. And at Vertafore, we realize we can't do everything on our own. So we need partners out there to support agencies with us, and we can march hand in hand together.
Yeah. Well, and from a timing perspective, I feel like you couldn't be saying this at a better time, because I know out in the market right now, agencies are struggling with having to ingest a lot of different technology all at once. Gavin himself actually had 10 different systems in total running. there were 4 Vertafore systems and then 6 systems that were, non-Vertafore, and all of them integrated together because of the Orange Partner Program and some of the other connections that have been built out. So in that world, if he didn't have any sort of integration, I guess tentuplicate would be the tentuplicate.
True, that DECA, I actually don't know how you say that
Right.
phrase. Yeah.
Right. So that's wonderful. Okay, so looking at 2023, where are we headed? Where are we going? What's coming up here?
Yeah, so I think the big messages for us in 2023, as we think about what we want to do with our Vertafore solutions, is continue to support better integration across our platforms and third-party platforms. And so at Vertafore, I'd say one big initiative for us is this idea of owning the personal lines focused agency. We think between the 3 solutions that we have of Agency Zoom, PL Rating, and QQ Catalyst, and the Orange partners that exist around those 3 solutions, there's no reason that agents that are doing primarily personal lines should not be using that suite of products. It is an incredibly powerful platform for them to continue to grow on. And so that is a huge effort for us, both in terms of making those solutions really sing together and sing with our Orange Partner Program members and all those connections that we have with them. The other big motion that we have in works from a technology perspective for 2023 is our continued push to AWS. And so moving more and more of our solutions to the public cloud. We have a deep partnership with Amazon Web Services, and the opportunity for us to bring our solutions to the public cloud improves not only the basics of uptime and performance, but also we get access to a ton of technology resources that exist within the AWS world to help us with our solutions. And a good example of that last year was with our Benefit Point solution. We launched a QuickSight reporting platform to help evolve reporting within the Vertafore portfolio. And you're going to see more and more of that across our full ecosystem going forward. So the third big priority for us is around APIs and connectivity and continuing to advance our API infrastructure around Vertafore. We have, I would say, by far the most robust API toolkit out in the industry, but we're going to continue to get ahead in the head race. We're going to invest more in making them easier to use, filling out gaps that our customers and partners have and how to connect into the Vertafore platform. So that's going to be critically important for us. And then probably most important for our agency partners is the UI UX transformation that we're going through right now at Vertafore. I mean, Sid, if you have the opportunity to have Kelly come on the podcast, who leads our design function, and talk about her approach to design, it would be amazing. But our design teams work in redesigning and modernizing the user experience inside of the Vertafore platform is huge. And that is not only just the look and feel of Vertafore solutions, but it's how our solutions integrate with each other, how our solutions work in and of themselves as we streamline workflows, reduce clicks, and make it even easier to use Vertafore products. So 2023 is a huge year for us, overall in terms of the work that we're doing inside of our platforms.
Oh, I was going to jump in there.
Yeah, no, go for it.
No, you go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I would say the last thing I would say is, you and I talked about this already on this discussion, is the commercial rating arena. And I think if I reflect back on 2022, we mentioned this before, the launch of our commercial submissions product at our Accelerate conference in 2022 was a big marquee event for us in 2022. And if I say, did we achieve everything that we wanted to with that launch? I mean, we had the most attended webinar we've ever had in Vertafore's history coming off that launch. We had hundreds and hundreds of agencies sign up for that solution in the first few months of launch. It hasn't quite achieved everything that I want for that product. And my hope and my belief is that 2023 is going to be the tipping point, both in terms of carriers adopting that platform. We have 20 carriers now in our commercial submission solution. We have plans to more than double that number in 2023, which will provide tons more markets that our agents can access. through that platform. And I want to see agents really get adopting the solution. There's always change required down at the desk level and adopting a new rating solution, but we're really excited to see them start to take hold of it, transform their operations, and really start saving time and money in how they quote commercial insurance and provide more choice for their customers through that process.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. So I'm gonna start back with the AWS, and I know there was one before that, but that one specifically, I want to just mention to those listening. It's been interesting watching the insurtech evolution over the last few years, and I hope that you've been paying attention. If you have, you've probably seen technology companies place some bets on how they're going to move their technology forward, and advance some of the foundational pieces to the products. And we've heard some big names announced in the industry, one that begins with a big G. And we at Vertafore have chosen to place our bet with Amazon. And so, AWS is that service that Amazon provides. And for those of you listening, what I want you to take away from this is, don't be fooled by the headlines. Right? A big name is great, and I think provides some sort of credibility and stability to the move. For sure, it's better than saying, well, I went with, makemytechbetter.com. But hold the technology companies accountable and see what's going on at this point in time, right? It's been about 2-3 years now since those bets have been placed. And we are going to bring on to the podcast some experts around Amazon and AWS connectivity, and really moving technology forward and advancing it. And I want you guys to listen to those podcasts and make the decision for yourself after you hear the conversation. But just don't be fooled by the headlines. So, James, any comments on that, or should we move on to point number 2?
No, I mean, the only thing I'll say is that, our partnership with Amazon is unbelievable. And just to reiterate that the benefits are beyond the pure system of being in the public cloud. It's the technology benefits and the partnership and the engineering access that we get to them that makes this partnership really special. And so, if you haven't had the opportunity to look at what we've been doing in terms of moving our solutions to AWS, or haven't had the opportunity to look at what we've done with the QuickSight reporting platform and Benefit Point, I would highly encourage folks to do that, because it gives you a taste of things to come with that partnership overall.
Wonderful. All right. So number 2, you mentioned building out more API integrations. And I guess, the comment I just want to make on this one is, it's interesting because before I came to Vertafore, I didn't realize, and I consider myself relatively well-versed in what's going on in insurtech. I did not realize how robust the Orange Partner Program is and what it actually was and is today. And so, I want to take a moment and emphasize that at this point in time, there are over 40 different insurtech solutions that are not just integrated, pre-integrated, meaning you just turn it on and it works, right? The data flows back and forth, pre-integrated with Vertafore solutions. That's a huge milestone. I don't believe there is any other company that has an agency management system that can say at this point in time that they have that breadth of openness that's already built out. So James, when you say, we're going to continue investing in the quality of that integration, I'm excited. Like, I'm pumped to see where that goes, because I don't hear you saying, oh, yep, we did it. We have 40, we're good. We'll move on. We checked that box. We're open. The relentlessness in your voice is what's really exciting to me.
Yeah, I mean, the thing you realize pretty quickly when you start working with agencies and you actually sit down, have coffee with them, have dinner with them, whatever else, no two agencies really look alike. And they all have the opportunity and the need to build their own technology solution, their own set of technology that works for what they're trying to do as a business overall. And we realized at Vertafore quite a few years ago that we couldn't do all of this on our own. And so we went out and identified partners that could help us get there with our agencies. And we said, how do we make this ecosystem really work? And that was why when we started investing more heavily in our APIs and started investing in relationships out in the business, how can we work together? And I think it's important to note for any listener out there or any of our customers that this isn't, the Orange Partner Program. We don't think of as it's not a moneymaker for Vertafore. We don't think about it as a revenue engine for Vertafore. It's not what we do. It's it's something that we do to help our agency clients to make those pre-built integrations to support our clients using the technology they need to make our solutions easier to work with. So it's all about how do we support ecosystem growth and move the channel forward, not about how we extract more for Vertafore in that process. So really important thing for us.
I love it. I love it. Okay, last point, and then we'll wrap up here. You mentioned commercial rating.
Yeah.
So I think there's a discussion to be had around commercial submissions, and that is, and I guess this is maybe my own opinion, so I should preface with that.
Okay.
But I truly believe it's unfair to hold a technology company that's launching a new product to a standard of perfection. And I think we want to do that as consumers. We want to say, well, they had the resources, they're the technology company, it should work exactly how, I want it to work. It should be this perfect thing. And as I've gotten deeper into technology and product road mapping and just tech innovation in general, I've learned that it really is a journey, right? You put out a product and then you see how the market uses it. And here's the thing, agents have to, and not in any way am I trying to, I want this to be a conversation, right? I mean, for those of you guys listening, just remember that the needs that you have may not be the same needs that the agency down the street has or the agency across the country has. And the strength of Vertafore in being able to have all of these different clients is also a challenge in that how do you make the perfect product when you've got a number of different varieties or definitions of perfection, right? And so what's going to be really exciting over the next year, and pay attention, man, keep watching what Vertafore is doing, is you're going to see the maturity and evolution of that product become something, right? Something that, it probably wasn't even necessarily intended to be when it first launched, right? There's going to be things that come out of people's usage that, get fed up into the product team, and you'll see that ingested and built into the roadmap and then ultimately out into the product. So I'm really excited to see where it goes. I think Vertafore's been a little quiet in the past on what's happening inside. We're going to be a lot louder, a lot bolder this next year. But just remember that what commercial submissions is today is not what it will be tomorrow, next week, next month, in 6 months, and certainly not next year.
Yeah, well said. I think it's like you always have this balance when you're launching a new product anywhere, which is how do you launch an MVP or what's ready for the market. But for us, I think that for all of our partners, it's all about who do you pick as a partner in this space? Who do you want to work with going forward? We're out there working with agents that are adopting the solution, learning more, and putting it into our roadmap and adjusting it every day. And it's nowhere is that more complicated than a solution like commercial submissions, where it's a network product, right? We have to have carriers, we have to have agents, we have to have us as a technology provider all working together to build something that's great. And so it takes time. We experienced that with PL rating when we launched that solution many, many years ago. But we're going to get there as well with commercial submissions. So I'm super excited about it.
Well, and PL rating is a product to get behind. So if it follows in its footsteps, I'm definitely excited to see where it goes. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much, James, for joining us. Is there anything I should have asked that I didn't ask? Maybe like, what's your favorite Canadian food? Or
Oh, we had the Canadian team, the Vertafore Canada team was in town this past week and they brought in coffee crisps, which I
Oh,
don't know if anybody in the US has ever had before. I'm sure some people have had, but it's a Canadian candy bar that you can't get here in the US. And if you can find one, I highly recommend having one. So,
coffee crisps.
yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, maybe we'll start giving those out to podcast guests, just as like a Vertafore. I'm getting some smiles from Trey, who's in the studio with me today. So maybe that'll happen.
there you go.
Wonderful, James. Thank you so much. We'll look forward to having you back on the VIP podcast later this year, just to check in and see how things are going. But best of luck, and let's crush it this year.
Awesome. Excited about it. Thanks, Sid.
My name is Rick Warder. I'm the Senior Vice President of Customer Success. My role is to basically take everything after sales sells a product to a customer and help them onboard onto our products, make sure they're fully adopting it, and then continue to get value out of our products as we release new features. So what I love about working with customers is that we get to help them fulfill the business reason they bought our product in the first place. My team really gets in there to understand their needs, how to best use our products, and how to keep using our products. What Vertafore has in store for you to accelerate this year are some great product workshops and announcements, a lot of help on how can you grow your agency, but the part that really helps move things forward is the relationships you build while you're there, then you can lean on through the rest of the year until you meet again the next time. And then, these are always about having a little bit of fun, and what a great place to have fun, and no better place than Austin. Great food. Not just barbecue, lots of other great food, but great food, great music. You have to go take a stroll down 6th Street and just see all the great music establishments. What I would say to someone that isn't sure if they should go to Accelerate is you have to go to experience it. It's so great to be back in person doing these kind of conferences. The energy level, the experience you'll get, the people you'll meet, you just need to go and see it. And there's no better place to go than Austin.